If somebody were to ask you at a bar, coffee shop, whatever, who you are, what would you say the answer to that is?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Kyle. I think uh, previously I probably would have put a lot of the focus around like me as a business professional, but my answer, as I've gotten older, my answer has changed.
Mm,
And I try to focus a little bit more on who I am as a man or a father. So, I'm a husband, I'm a father of two, I'm a family man. I love spending time with my family. That is at my core, that's who I am. Now, what I do is different than who I am.
love it.
But I think when I was probably in my late 20s, early 30s, definitely was more, oh, I'm I'm a salesperson, I'm a business development person, whatever it ended up being. But, you know, um, and I think this goes for everybody, right? As we get older, we start to, value different things, and we start to allow ourselves to balance our time with different things. And now I can safely say that I can be a husband and can be a father, and I can be a business leader at my organization. But that's not ultimately what defines me. I'm defined by who I am outside of work, which is that husband, father, lover of all things family, and I guess that would be kind of my answer for that.
I love it, man. Yeah, fair enough, dude. So let's get into the other side of it, which is what you do, you know? So I love how you differentiate the two. Somebody asks you who you are as opposed to what you do, two very different questions. So I
Yeah.
love it, man. So let's get into if somebody asks what you do, today, what would you say the answer is?
Yeah. So I lead business development and partnerships for an AI company. We are a company that really believes in a few different things. We have an internal credo: curiosity, respect, expeditiousness, data over opinions, and openness and honesty. And that we eat, sleep, and breathe those items, as a leadership team and as a company. And my job in my day-to-day work is trying to grow our company, grow our footprint, grow our revenue through partnerships, and finding companies that are interested in adopting our technology and building it into their own tech stacks, into their own ecosystem, their own software, their own UI, UX, and growing their revenue streams, growing their product offerings through a partnership. That buy, build, or partner kind of question that a lot of companies ask themselves. We're focusing on the partner element of that and bringing our technology and our numerous years of AI experience to companies that are interested in doing what we do, and providing that as a benefit to their users.
So what kind of benefits do you typically bring if you were to partner with somebody?
Yeah, so the biggest one is video rendering. So, we're here, we're talking on Zoom. There's tons of video platforms out there, right? That will allow you to record video, shoot video. You can shoot great video on your iPhone. That's what I'm using for my webcam, is an old iPhone. So, there's lots of capabilities to create video. But when it comes time to actually rendering or editing that video, that process is very time consuming. It's often it can be very daunting for people that are not, shall we say, traditional video editors. So we are trying to help content creators in the kind of the uh, historic sense, people that were content creators were bloggers, they're writers, they're journalists. But how do we empower them to create videos out of the content that they're already creating, which is to say text based or written content? And that is one of the elements to what we do. The other element is there are a lot of video creators out there. There are people that are recording interviews just like this one, and at the end of the interview, there's a ton of great snippets. We'll call it the Clips Notes version of of the interview, or of the the exchange that you had with somebody. And we have an AI that will help people extract the best snippets of a long form video and put that into more of a short form video that can be shared on social networks, shared via email. Because you're not going to share a 60-minute video recording, but you might share a 3-minute video recording via email. So giving people the ability to repurpose their existing content into short form video content through our AI.
What's it called?
The company's called Victory.
Okay, perfect.
We've been around since 2019, so before all of this generative AI hype. And yeah, we've been selling direct to consumer. We also have our partnership program, the ability for people to leverage our API to build our technology directly into their own softwares.
I love it, man. I love the company too. We're in April 2024 right now. So I'm wondering how the future of it is going to evolve as opposed to how it is right now. Like, is it good enough right now where we can input a podcast, an hour long piece of content, and have it be edited enough so that it's good to be posted directly? Or is there still some human intervention that has to take place? And then how do we kind of see that transitioning in the near future?
Yeah, it's a great question. So it is. I use it for my podcast. So I will use it to edit, like the ums, the uhs, the silences. Some of those things. Uh, you can interact with the audio or video recording just simply by interacting with the transcript. So you can, if there are certain
Mm,
words you want to take out, you just delete the words from the transcript, and it deletes it from the video or the audio recording. So it allows you to move a lot quicker. It's not fully going to use like AI to completely edit everything. So there would be some human interaction. But if you wanted to just simply summarize or get a quick synopsis, like, hey, here's this interview I just did with Marc. Here's the best 3 minutes of this interview. But if you want to go listen to the whole thing, here's a link to subscribe, or to, get alerts about every time a new podcast is released. Basically, kind of using it as a way to fill the funnel or get more listeners out. Whatever you might want to do. So that's kind of the way that we see a lot of people using it in the podcast space.
yeah, right now, for sure. How long do you think until it's at the point? Because I can't wait, man, when we can input an hour podcast and bam, we got 16 video clips for YouTube Shorts and TikTok or whatever. And then we've got the 15 or 10-minute clips of the specific questions and answers. I can't wait for that to happen, man. I love automation. I love the whole AI space. So how long do you think that is? Like, how far away is it, man, until we can do that?
That's not very far away at all. I mean, honestly, some of the things that we're working on in conjunction with other partners, I would say that's something that is, I mean, I would say this year easily, maybe if not by the end of Q3 with some of the things that we're working on. So, yeah, it's getting very, very close. With using some of the large language models, and then putting that on top of the video editing component. Yeah, so it's very, very close.
I can't wait, man. Then we can sync it up with an auto posting feature too. So we record an hour
Yeah,
podcast and then bam, the software automatically splits it all up and then posts it for you on autopilot. That's gonna be freaking badass. I can't wait for that. Yeah. And then there's also the
yeah,
downside of it because there's gonna be way more content in terms of short form and medium length content that's gonna be posted
yeah.
because of that. So it's gonna be more competition, but at the same time, a lot less time and a lot more value being put in the world as well. And you're contributing to that. It's huge, man. It's very, very cool. Where do you see the future of it going? How do you see it evolving in, let's say, 5, 10 years?
Yeah, that is, wow, that's a really good question. One that I guess I have thought about, but I haven't really kind of sat down to to write down my thoughts. But like, I guess knee-jerk reaction would be, I feel like there is going to become a lot more content that's out there. So Now it's going to be up to the content creator, the podcast host, whoever it ends up being, to create more, shall we say, dynamic content. Or if you're hosting a podcast and you're the host of the show, how do you ask more interesting questions, or how do you elicit a response that is going to be like that wow moment that is going to elevate your podcast to the top to get more listeners, right? Because there is going to be more noise. So I think it's all about the continued evolution of the creator, or the we'll use that term very loosely, right? I mean, everyone, the content creator in some way, whether that be for internal purposes, external purposes. Even if you're an engineer, you're creating content, right? You're creating software that is ultimately going to allow people to create content. So, I think it's really going to drive the increase in creativity, honestly. I think because people are gonna get a little bit fatigued with just the noise that's happening, and they're gonna look for something that's new, that's groundbreaking, that's authentic. So it's I think that's what it's ultimately going to do, is it's going to force people to level up their game.
Yeah, damn right. What do you think about the fact that it could eventually just scan 1,000 podcast episodes and then recreate the episodes in real time for each individual? The way I see it playing out is hyper personalization. And so the AI could scan everybody's
Yeah.
online presence and then create a podcast for that individual, with the podcast host that's generated in real time for each listener based on what the AI predicts that's most likely to be well received by each person, like a movie that's generated in real time for each person based on their likes and beliefs and what they would like to see, what they would relate with the most. So this is
Yeah.
freaking badass, man. I'm excited about it. How'd you get into the whole AI space? What got you excited about it in 2019, far beyond the recent hype of it?
Yeah, so I started at the company back at the beginning of last year, at the beginning of 2023. So it was, kind of right at that, right when ChatGPT was, kind of becoming mainstream, and people were seeing what they could do, with AI from like just a general consumer perspective. But I've been in video for about 8 years now. So I led business development and sales for a live video company back when live video was in its infancy, like think Periscope and Meerkat, days where everyone was walking around with their phone, live streaming. So I've been in video since then, doing front end video creation, back end video delivery, working with CDN companies, and then cloud graphics production companies as well. So, I've seen a lot happen on the front end of video, and one thing that I didn't see a lot of is how companies were helping people take their long form content and turn it into short form, because either you're a long form content creator or you're a short form content creator. Like there are clear differences for what makes successful long form versus short form content, right? So when I found out about Pictory and what they were doing with this whole AI summarization, turning long form videos into short form videos, and then also helping people create existing videos out of text, to me, it just seemed like the next logical kind of evolution in what I've done with the repurposing aspect of what we do. So that's ultimately kind of what brought me here. But as I've been in this seat now for almost a year and a half, it's been great to be part of a company that's helped in a situation where I can help drive the strategy forward with how we're thinking about our product, how we're going to market with this product, who we're going after. So that's been it's been a real fun ride so far.
Yeah. Right on, dude. What about the posting of the content? Do you guys see any of the data in terms of what gets the most likes, what gets the most engagement, comments, as opposed to other short form content that you repurpose? I mean, how do we go about repurposing the long form that's going to be well performing in terms of analytics?
Yeah, so we have some, I guess, some anecdotal, information that we've been able to glean from successful videos that people have posted. The next logical step is how do we build analytics into the videos where we can apply AI to the analytics to say this is the best type of video that performs best for Instagram, and then we can
Right.
basically create templates, or we can create experiences that help people create Instagram specific videos, because we have 5 million videos every year that are being created, with our platform. So how do we use that information to help people, the next wave of consumers that are coming into Pictory, create better videos for the platforms that they're publishing to? So that's something that we're working on this year, is how do we get more analytics around the videos that people are creating, the destination that they're sharing them to, and the performance of said videos, so we can build that back into our systems just to make the process, better, quicker, faster, smarter, all of those things that we're always, looking to do as, people that are familiar with playing sports, always wanted to be better, faster, stronger. That's what we're trying to do, is how do we make our software better, faster, stronger, all of those things.
Yeah, that'd be badass as hell, dude. If you can create that feedback loop where if you get a posted video and the AI realizes that
Yep.
performed well, then it would know to do a similar video for the next one with similar content. And it improves the experience for all the users because that data could then be transported to each user with their content because it has knowledge essentially of what that platform likes and what people on that platform are most likely to interact with. Then I can create that infinite feedback loop to really start to throw gas on that fire. That'd be sweet. And
Yep.
so that's coming up, eh? Wow. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the podcast, and I want to let you know that I've got a free book that you can get if you want to tap into more of these resources. And you can get that for free at kylesbook.com. Back to the podcast. What about the fact that you guys go for the partnership route? Because that's interesting. How you said that that's the marketing. A lot of the marketing strategy is joint ventures or strategic partnerships, finding who has access to your target audience and figuring out how you can go about making these mutually beneficial relationships. Tell me about that. What are you guys doing in terms of partnerships?
Yeah. So, partnerships are obviously there. It's not new by any stretch of the imagination. Like, you think about, even just thinking about professional athletes, right? They partner with all of these, companies to help promote their products, and obviously as the professional athlete does better, that product or that company does better because, they have a partnership with one of, the most visible, people in the world. So, we're taking a slightly different approach to partnerships than like this co-selling sort of motion that a lot of companies will use from a partnership perspective. We know that our technology is one of the best out there, from text to video summarization. Like, we have a patent for our video summarization. So how do we take our years of knowledge in and around this space, the stuff that we've been working on for a long period of time, and how do we help our partners expedite their roadmap to include something like what Pictory does into their products and services, and allow them to now become an AI company. AI is all the
Yeah.
buzz, right? Everyone wants to be an AI company. Everyone wants to have some element of AI. And how do you capitalize on that? I guess you could say, on that buzz, and that's kind of what we're selling, to a certain extent, is just like Microsoft has implemented all of the open AI stuff in everything that they do, from PowerPoint to to email, with all of their Copilot stuff. It's all powered by, elements of OpenAI through their partnership with them. So we want to bring our technology into these companies that are interested in adopting AI tech that could help their content creators, their course creators,
Mm.
their educators, their marketers create more video-based content out of their existing content.
Yeah, I love the strategy, man. It's strategic as all hell. You find who has access to the customers, and then you partner with those people. It's like making one sale instead of 1,000 sales. You make one sale to the person who's already made the 1,000 sales and can introduce you overnight. That's what I'm talking about, dude.
Yep.
What are some partnerships that you guys have made already that have been influential in terms of bottom line revenue?
Yeah. So we partner with a company called Kajabi. If you're
Huh.
familiar with Kajabi, they're one of the largest course creation platforms, that there is. So we are powering their creator studio. If you're a Kajabi user,
Hmm.
and you have uploaded video course content to their platform, you can use their course creator, or excuse me, their creator studio platform to create short form videos out of that long form course content. So that could be marketing for, bringing more people into your course. That could be creating micro courses, to sell to other people. So we're powering that. There's another company that is in the LMS space called the Regis Company. Traditionally, they have been a kind of a done for you, more of an agency where they create your learning and development content. If you're a large, Fortune 500 company, well, they have since rolled our text to video solution into a UI that they've built to allow their users to do more self-serve content, where they can create learning and development content out of text. So those are kind of two of the, I guess you could say, the larger, more visible, opportunities, as well as a lot of kind of um, smaller companies that are doing more kind of one-off things with our API. But we're in talks with a lot of companies, from video CDN companies to additional LMS platforms, to learning companies that specialize in video learning. So there's a lot of exciting things that are happening right now.
Freaking sweet, man. It's so cool. The whole thing, it's like it's unbelievable where we're at right now in terms of the advancements. We'll look back at this in 20 years, I think, and be like, holy shit, man. That was it. Like that was the gold rush days. And so that's why everybody wants to take, and who knows, maybe it'll keep on going. But I think right now is exciting as all hell. That's what I do know. To be an entrepreneur, to be running a business or contributing to a business in some way. It's freaking sweet, dude. I love where we're at right now. What about
Yeah.
the mindset that goes into finding these partnerships? How do you know who's going to make a good partner? How do you know who has access to your target audience? How do you identify those?
Yeah. So, I mentioned earlier in our discussion our idea of credo, and the
Yeah.
D in credo stands for data over opinions. So we look at a lot of the data for our inbound users that are coming in. What are the types of videos that they're creating? What are we seeing organically happen already without us getting involved? And a lot of that stuff has to do with learning and development, education content. So using that kind of data as our North Star, then it becomes, okay, well, what companies out there are serving that same market? And obviously, it's easy to find those types of companies doing Google searches, or there's tons of different platforms out there, right, that exist to create lists or find lists of companies in certain industries and verticals. So we use a lot of the data of what we see with inbound people, individual users that are signing up, the types of companies that are signing up, and then I specifically will find other partners that are serving the same segment, the same ICP, and open up conversations with them.
So what's the actual process look like? Do you ask, where our customers are spending money right now, or what do they need before needing our services? And then that kind of opens up the avenue for partnering with folks. There's the whole Jay Abraham thing, like, who are our customers buying from? Actually, clients. He makes that differentiation between who our clients are buying from before they need us, during
Yeah.
our solution, and then afterwards. And all of those could be potential joint ventures. What about the way that you look at it, specifically? What's that process look like?
Yeah, I mean, we also do get some inbound interest from customers that are interested in our API. So, what are those types of companies that have expressed interest in
Mm,
a technology partnership? So, like we see organic inbound interest that are coming from the likes of like companies like Kajabi and the course creator platform, script in the course creator space, or companies like the Regis company and the LMS space. So since we have that, how do we go find more of
yeah.
those? Or maybe it might be an agency that's looking to do more video for their customers. Great. How do we go find other similar companies that look like that? So it's about sort of building those lookalike audiences for people that we know are already seeking out our product, and then how do we go find more of those companies just like it to have similar
Mm.
conversations.
And then,
We're a copycat society, right? Like everyone, you know, you don't reinvent the wheel, right? You see what works, and then you go try to do that, but do it slightly better. So ha- it's the same idea, with people that sell tires, right? I mean, if you buy a tire from Goodyear versus Pirelli versus any of the other companies, it's still a rubber tire, right? It's not like there's any new technology or any new developments. They're changing the way that they craft the tire. They're changing the different compounds that they put in it to make it last longer, to make it go faster, to make it stick better. But it's still a tire, at the end of the day. So like, how do we use kind of, and I know that's very kind of narrow-minded, or almost a little bit dumbed down, but that's sort of the approach, right? They're looking for a video creation solution or something to provide a way for their customers to create more video out of their existing content. Well, great, we can do that. Let's get a relationship with them, and then let's build on it, and let's get a relationship with the next guy, and let's build on that, and the next guy, and build on that. So it's that land and expand methodology as well.
And I'm fascinated by the reaching out process and creating these joint ventures. What does that process look like? Let's say you've identified an avenue or a niche that would be a fit for partnering with you guys. There's, a course creation company or agencies, whatever it might be. How do you actually go about opening up that relationship? How do you reach out? What do you say? And then to kind of really start to whet their appetite in terms of a potential partnership.
Yeah, I mean, companies always want to know, who have you done business with before, right? Like, who else are you working with? So it's about having that social proof. So, by saying, oh, well, we're working with X company and this number of, learning people in the learning and development space, provides that instant credibility to the conversation. And then from there, it becomes just a discovery call, just like this conversation we're having right now, right? Like, we're discovering what makes each person tick. You're discovering more about my the business that I'm in. I'm discovering more about you and what you're doing, with your podcast and with your interviews. So we're getting to know one another, on over this conversation. So really, that's kind of what ends up happening, right? Is you figure out who's your counterpart at the company you want to have a conversation with.
Mm.
Right there, you already have a connection, because you're probably trying to do similar things, just with different companies. And then it just becomes like, you put your sales hat on, right? Like, how do I sell this person, this company, on the benefits of what we do, what we bring to the table, how it can benefit them. How, do they have this as a pain point? Is this something that their customers are asking for? Can we actually like come in and solve an immediate need? So it's all about kind of asking those questions and getting down to what their pain points are, and if there are ways for us to work together. And a lot of times you end up doing like webinars, and you kind of guest on a webinar that that they might host for their customers to talk about what you're doing, to help see if there's any additional interest. Is there appetite for what we do? And then from there, it becomes like kind of a webinar to maybe like a co-marketing campaign, and then from there, it might open itself up to to a full-blown integration.
Yeah, see, it's interesting because you've got a service that people don't necessarily know that they need yet. Because I mean, it didn't exist; it
Yeah.
wasn't possible. You had to do it manually before, and that was a big pain in the ass. So there's an education process that has to take place in terms of what you guys are doing, and then how that could benefit them, as opposed to something obvious that people are like, "Oh yes, I know that I need that." So let's. So you really have to educate people in terms of what you can do for them. How do you look at that education process? You know, on a webinar or whatever, and we can use a specific example if you want to throw one out there. How do you know what to say that's going to make somebody interested and have that epiphany moment and be like, whoa, what would my life be like if I had Pictory? What would that look like? How do you look at the whole education process in this case?
Yeah, I think for me, I try to look for maybe some customers that they have, or someone that might be like a joint customer of both of ours, leading up to it, to where we could use their specific uh, use of both products as, as an example, right? Like everyone, again, back to that idea of us being, copycat society. We like, if we see somebody that's doing something that works for them, then like let's use that. Like let's figure out how we can use it in our own workflows in our own business. So that's really kind of been my idea, is like how do we find somebody that's already using both platforms, or leading up to the webinar, could we find somebody in in our partners
Mm.
system that we could reach out to say, hey, can we provide you access to this tool, and get your feedback as a lead up to this webinar. And then from there, we also will pull out, we do a lot of case studies, we do a lot of interviews with our customers, because again, at the end of the day, data, what does the data tell us? And if the data says that utilizing a tool like Pictory, you can save yourself 6 hours a day in video editing time, time is money. So what can you do with that 6 hours of time now that you have back? Like how much more could you do with
Mm.
that time, with in other areas of your business, or if you can create now a week's worth of content in an hour, what could you do with that, those other 7 days a week that you would be working on content, or those other 6 days of the week that you'd be working on content? So it's about kind of creating and finding statistics like that that help to put it in the mindset that would help people understand, like, okay, this is how it works for this person. I can see that working for myself in that same process, or see myself saving time. So it's like, if you're familiar with Donald Miller, the story brand, and using words like you and your, instead of my,
Yes.
it's all about it's all about having people put themselves in the shoes of that person.
Mm.
Like, and I see myself as that type of person. Um, like, again, I use a lot of sport analogies, but like thinking about Usain Bolt, like we can't put ourselves in that position, because none of us will ever be that fast. But if I could watch another 40-something-year-old running the 100-yard dash, I could probably see myself as that person, right? So
Mm.
like, could I? It's all about finding people that look like you, that have the same pain points as you. So that's kind of how we approach things with creating that need, or creating an opportunity with other partners, users.
Right. Yeah, no, and then instead of going for people that already have an existing or don't have video content, obviously you'd go for people who have the content and therefore they would have that problem of having to spend 6 hours a day editing. And then you can introduce a solution like, hold up, man, imagine what you could do if you had this.
Yeah.
And then you got that really blowing the mind moment of holy shit, imagine, and then it could be, then there's the objection of like, oh, is it a good up quality, whatever, but you're working to the point of the end of this year that you're going to have it completely autonomous where it's going to be edited, good to go, and then ready to be posted, which I'm freaking stoked
Yeah.
for. And that's so cool, dude. Yeah, I love it. And it's only been around in the mainstream AI for the last couple of years. We don't know what's going to happen with it in the next long haul, man. It's exciting. So, but dude, let me ask you this. If I were to ask you a question that would provide, when you answered it, would provide the most amount of value for an entrepreneur, a business owner, somebody working in a company would uh, get the most value from this answer, what would the question be?
Oh, so what question could you ask me that
Yeah.
I could answer that would provide the biggest value?
Yeah.
Wow. Um, so I was just at NAB, and there were, I don't know if you've ever been to that conference, National Association of Broadcasters in Vegas, but I've been for like 8 years. And um, this year I was asked to speak. And, so I was, several people came up to me, and asking me different questions. And one of the people that came up to me was someone that had just graduated college. Um, and she asked me, she's like, you know, what would you tell me, as someone at 23 years old, like, what would you tell me? What would your advice be to me, in order to figure out what I want to do with my life? And I know this isn't entrepreneurial, but you could probably apply some of the same, concepts to it, right? And I feel like my answer to that would, or I don't feel like my answer to that would be, don't don't rush. You'll figure it out, right? Like, Rome wasn't built in a day. Um, I understand in today's society, everyone wants to move fast, and we want to retire at age 35, and we want to be independently wealthy, and we want to do all these things. But perspective, can definitely provide a lot of answers, or experience can provide a different perspective. So my answer to like an entrepreneur, would be to network, get to know as many people as you possibly can,
Hmm.
to figure out either A, what you want to do with your life, if you're just starting out, as a professional, or B, to have a network of people that you can rely on, that you can actually call, that you can create relationships with, that are more than just surface level. Because I firmly believe that your network is your net worth. And like, the fact that all of the jobs that I've had over the years, like, I can still pick up the phone and call anyone that I worked with and worked for, and have a conversation with them, either about a partnership or like a referral, like, hey, we're trying to get in touch with this company. I know we used to work with them there. Can you put me in touch with them? So having those relationships that you can take with you, from your 20s to your 30s to your 40s, and build that relationship, that network of people. Because if you're either someone that's just freshly starting out, that's going to be hugely beneficial as you grow in your career. If you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to start a business, you're trying to build a business, what's the best way to do that? It's to get people that have other networks that you can tie into, to now
Hmm.
get your product out there into those, into those circles, and do so in a way that's authentic. I think there's so much right now with, uh, we're all tired of being marketed to. We see advertisements, we see all this stuff, But when someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, you should try this product," that's so much more impactful to me than me seeing an ad on TV or hearing an ad on the radio, or seeing something pop up in my Facebook or Instagram feed. Like it it's just we're just so atrophied to the traditional ways of marketing, that if you can have people that talk about your product and talk about it in a way that is positive, and then that person talks about it to their friend, and their friend talks about it to their friend, it's that network effect, or that butterfly effect, right? So like that would be my biggest that would be my answer to that question, is to constantly be networking and build a network of people that you can leverage, that you can fall back on, that you can trust. And yeah, that would be my feedback.
I love it, man. Yeah, you're tapping into some serious psychology there, because you're picture a movie that you got referred to by a friend that otherwise you might not have liked the movie, but because your friend said that you would like it and they liked it, you're more prone to like it yourself, which is fascinating.
Yep.
And so if somebody emails their list saying, "Hey, I liked this product, you might like it too," the same concept applies, where they're like, "Okay, so let's check this out." Get instant authority, instant trust. And those are
Yep.
key elements to making the sale. So man, dude, yeah, huge. It goes back to the partnerships that we were talking about earlier. So we kind of went for full circle there. So I love it, man. Dude, what else do you have to add before we kick this off here?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I shared a lot. I mean, there's nothing that I specifically would add to that. I feel like I feel like I've shared all that I could possibly share today. It's been awesome chatting with you, and I've really enjoyed the conversation.
My pleasure, man. Yeah, seriously, me too. I can't wait to see what happens with Pictory. And when that puppy's ready to start automatically posting and it's fully edited, good to go, can't freaking wait, man. So you're gonna have to, I'll hit you up when that comes out. And I'll be like, all right, we talked about it, man. Now it's here. And I'm excited for that. So, dude, Mark, thank you for being
Yeah,
here, brother. And we will keep in touch, man. Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you, Kyle.
My pleasure, brother. Bye. All right. I hope you enjoyed that podcast episode. And if you want to get a free copy of my book, go to kylesbook.com and you can get a copy there. I'll talk with you soon.